You are now tuned into Flippin the Birds, a Philly Sports Network podcast.
What's going on, fans? Welcome all to episode 100. Remember the first episode we ever did? Was it with Liam?
Probably, because Liam wanted to steal the thunder.
Wow, 100 episodes later, and we've come
July 2019, right? Yeah, 2019.
July's a good month. My daughter was born in July. Dude, yeah. I mean, the podcast started with Chris and myself.
Am I supposed to say July's a good month too? Because it's my wife's birthday.
You should have. That was a perfect moment to chime in and give credit to your wife. It's not like she gave birth to two of your children. One who is sitting on the podcast with us. You're not going to breastfeed on the podcast, right?
Nah, I'm dried up.
Okay, I just want to make sure. And I mean, we started off with two. We turned into a threesome. Morgan came through. Yeah, I said threesome. Get over it. Morgan came through in the clutch
when me breastfeeding and then we're throwing threesomes.
Yeah. Morgan came through in the clutch when Chris took some time off, and he's been a part of us ever since. So, absolutely. I mean, I had to talk to you guys. Yes, absolutely.
Cheers, fellas.
Cheers.
There we go.
For those that you guys, damn, I already fucked it up. For those of you guys that don't know how much work Brian and Chris put into this behind the scenes, it's incredible. I'm thankful to be a part of it. But 100 episodes is really an accomplishment, and yeah, cheers to you guys. You guys make it happen. Chris is over here, on the podcast, just being a good father and doing other stuff and freeing the nipple and all that stuff. And
yeah, I'm trying not to breastfeed as much on camera anymore.
Is Bree watching you as you say that?
Yeah, she's coming down now.
It's 2021.
It's okay. You can come get them.
Wait, so is it possible? Okay, so when we first started the podcast, Bree always made an appearance with pots and pans. Is it possible to put on camera?
No, she doesn't want to go on camera right now.
No, why not?
Because she doesn't.
The voice is right there. I mean,
she doesn't. You can come say hi.
I don't want to.
It's 100th episode. You
feel like we deserve it.
Brian was just saying we started off the podcast with the pots and pans in the background. Remember when you were doing all the dishes in the background? So why don't you just say hi? Oh my God. Okay, I gotta go give him some.
At 101.
Oh. At 101. Okay, I'm holding to that.
He heard that. He's at 101.
But yeah, I mean, we're here now. Hey, you got a shot already in the chat. Greg Ward did get another touchdown. Smooth hands on a touchdown as well. I mean, I didn't expect.
Drop one too.
He did drop one, but to me that wasn't his fault. So we're not going to credit that to him.
Yeah.
And my turtle will not be showing up on camera. I actually do need to clean his tank tonight, so he's not showing up. But yeah, bro, we're here. We're coming off I don't want to say a big loss because I was weirdly satisfied with the loss. Eagles lose to the Kansas City Chiefs. It was 42-30, if I'm not mistaken. But I was oddly satisfied. Devontae Smith over 100 yards. He had 122 yards. 7 catches, if I'm not mistaken, or 6.
I don't know. Usually the stats.
Yeah, don't worry about it. I think it was 7. So that was great. It was great. Dallas Goedert showed up with about 56 yards. Yeah. Zach Ertz 60 yards. And the first couple of drives, like you saw, an offense just in
Holy shit.
Rhythm. Are we talking about the Boston Red Sox again?
The Cowboys just released Jalen Smith.
No, you didn't.
Schefter just reported it.
Wait, this is the first time we have breaking news on the podcast.
Holy shit.
No, he didn't. Wait, why?
Right there.
Adam Schefter?
Yeah, check mark and all. His is Adam Schefter, yes.
Wait, do we think Philly will make a move?
Oh my gosh.
I mean,
oh wow, yeah, this is actually Adam Schefter.
They heard to pick up the phone.
So Cowboys have released linebacker Jalen Smith, which is an odd move to me because I mean he hasn't really shown bad production this season. Can the Eagles?
I think they knew they couldn't pay him. I don't know what happened with the release. I don't know why that you have to release him, but
Could they not have gotten value in trading him?
Yeah, you'd think. You'd think they get
something.
something.
My beer right now.
Especially with Micah Parsons moving to defensive end for the time being. They need linebacker. Anyways, weird topic. We were talking about the Chiefs.
Let's talk about the Chiefs. I feel like the offense was in great rhythm. I don't know about you guys, but if we talked about this before the podcast, my only downside is I don't understand what the hell's going on with Miles Sanders and the Eagles.
Yeah.
So,
it's a good point, man.
And I know we need linebackers, but no.
Whoa, why not?
He sucks. Yeah? He sucks.
What do you mean? He's quick as hell.
Have you not been watching how he's been playing? He sucks.
Maybe he was unhappy.
He is the black Nate Gary.
He's one of those. He's one of those
guys.
Oh, yes, I can. I
feel like he's one of those guys that comes to a team like the Eagles who already have linebacker troubles, and it shows just how much work he has to put in. But like, I mean, he's better than Gerard Avery.
He's better than a lot of guys.
Something definitely had to happen because the Cowboys still owe him $7 million this year.
Yeah,
he definitely had to. Something happen.
What if that's a guy who one man's trash is another man's treasure? I mean, he wasn't a bad linebacker 2 years ago.
My sports update says, great story out of college. Earned a second contract with Dallas. He fell out of favor in Dan Quinn's system.
Freaking Cowboys. They always have to make some type of appearance when something good's happening with, Eagles. Right now, we're celebrating 100th episode, and they wanted to make an appearance. So shout out to the Cowboys. And
then Marcus Mosher said, the Cowboys had a Jalen Smith problem. His contract was guaranteed for injury in 2022. Better to release him now than risk being on the hook for his salary. So if he got hurt, his salary is guaranteed next year. So
I want to because I think Van Der Esch kind of fell out of favor a little bit in the offseason.
Damn.
Still a starter.
All right, so let's head back to Philly. So, yeah.
I mean, if he does sign here, I'm going to think he's the best linebacker in the world, but right now he sucks.
Right. All right. Back to Philly. No.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Just to let everybody know, we are scheduled to have Lance Zierlein on. We're just waiting for him to come on. So I know we said we pumped it up. Yeah, Lance. Don't worry about it. He's coming.
Perfect. Okay, back to the Chiefs. Yeah, I think you're right, man. We saw some rhythm. We saw like what this offense was kind of supposed to do. Against the Chiefs, you can't have those. You can't have. Jeez, this is off the rails already. All right, and finish this beer a little faster.
Well, that was not to you. That's to J-Fizz.
No, I know, but let's be honest here. I'm on the same train, but okay. He is fast.
He's extremely fast. I just want to put that out there. But yes, go ahead, Morgan. You keep getting trouble.
I'm sorry. Yeah. You saw the rhythm. Some stalling in the red zone, which is really a problem. You can't have that against the Chiefs. But I think that we kind of got fortunate under Doug Peterson. That was something that the Eagles were really good at. So just figuring that out. He's a young coach. He'll figure it out. But the Miles Sanders conundrum, we were talking about it earlier, just before the podcast started with Chris. It's kind of a bit of both, right? Like, I think that you're right. They are pigeonholing him a bit. I don't know that those are the best runs for him, especially for like on a coaching staff that swears by giving their players the best opportunities.
Exactly.
And catering to them. However, there are definitely
Let's leave it at that. Okay. Let's
vision issues there. Also, at the end of the day, like I know that PFF rated Landon Dickerson's run blocking really high. They're not working with their best O-line right now. Whether or not that's performance-wise or just scheme-wise, they probably can't run what they want to run right now. Let's be honest. They got there's one starter. They're not going to be able to run the pulls, the counters.
But my thing, they had a really good play, Gainwell, when he scored the 70-yard touchdown.
The touchdown was nice, yeah.
It was nice because you saw the one side of the line pulling, the other side of the line pushing, and it literally opened up it parted the Red Sea. Mm-hmm. Why couldn't Miles Sanders get that kind of run? You get me? Before you jump in and say the vision issues. If I'm a running back and I see a hole that big, there's no way you deny it. I personally feel like if you gave him the ball in the red zone with that specific play, it would have been the same result. That's my opinion.
I remember a famous picture from a few years ago of Trent Richardson. Not saying Miles Sanders, Trent Richardson, not. But there was a picture of Trent Richardson and the Browns
Can we bring up the
parted
picture?
the sea like the fucking red, like Moses. Like they freaking parted it like Moses, and he went that way. Like he didn't, some running backs they want
But
to
do you feel like that's Miles Sanders?
No, but he's not Trent Richardson, obviously, but it's just he is what Miles Sanders right now is what Adam Dunn was in the MLB, and Adam Dunn was home run or strikeout.
So you don't think he's a every down back?
I think he can be. Right now, he's not, because like we like to talk about all this about his yards per carry being top in the league or whatever, but most of those yards per carry are like a chunk run here and there. It's like a 20+ yard run here, 15-yard run there, but then the yards per carry average out to 8 or 7 or 8 because he had a 2-yard run or a 3-yard run, so it's just averaging out. Right now, like if he was doing that, he's not getting the carries obviously, but if he was doing like 15 carries a game at 5 yards clip, 6 yards clip, then yeah, he's great. But right now he's just handling the ball. He's either rushing for 30 yards or he's getting stopped at the line. So it's hit or miss right now. So
I think another problem that you're seeing is the small sample size. I know the Chiefs aren't really a great game to compare to. You kind of have to throw against them. I saw a post. I wish I could give them credit on Instagram. One of those Eagles pages I follow that talked about really just how unimportant the ratio of run to pass is getting now in the NFL. And I think that's a really good point as well. But with Miles Sanders, more so than a lot of running backs that we've seen, he's a rhythm guy, right? Like that's what you hope, is that he gets 3 or 4 yards and then bursts one, right? And it's all about rhythm. We've seen it in like that Bills game, right? The game where he broke that one big one. He had a lot of really bad runs. That Cowboys game, a lot of really bad runs, but that's what it is. It's rhythm. Now, when you're running the ball, they ran it 11 times.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
7 carries for Sanders and 3 carries for 7 for Sanders and 3 for Gainwell.
Right. So we're talking about chunk plays. Okay, so Miles Sanders had 7 carries for 13 yards for 1.9 carry. Now, you add one of those 25-yard runs, that looks a lot better, right? And the more and more you increase that total, like what I like to see is I think Miles Sanders, is better than a lot of the doubters. I think he is. Like I think he can do it, but he still needs 15 carries.
And that's my thing. We've yet to see this guy get into a rhythm with consistent amount of carries. Like it's always, 2 carries, he'll gash the defense for like 12 yards, 13 yards, or 20 yards, and we won't see him ever again. It's the weirdest thing in the world. And that's what I think that's my issue with it, because we have yet to see a consistent Miles Sanders, because we have yet to see a consistent amount of touches. If he really is your 3-down back, like treat him as so. I get Kenny Gainwell is a beautiful product, but
And I mean, again, you kind of have that Chiefs factor playing in, but if it wasn't for the last couple of games, you'd be all right with it. But Jalen Hurts can't throw 48 times a game.
Absolutely not.
You can't have that.
Well,
it is the Chiefs effect. I get that. It's the Chiefs. You have to. But, the last couple of games were the exact same.
But stop playing catch up. Play your own game. In my opinion, I mean, we had that game in our grasp. If it wasn't for penalties and bonehead plays, like that game would have been a lot closer than we expected it to be. But let's go to Chris real quick.
Speaking of Jalen Hurts throwing for 48 times, some people out there don't think he can be the guy. Some people think he can. Some people think he's improved. Some people think he hasn't. But there's one guy out there who is a very famous draft analyst for the NFL who put his words to Twitter and got quite the reaction. So we very happy to be joined by NFL Draft Analyst Lance Zierlein.
Very famous is a reach.
I don't know, Lance, you're everywhere nowadays.
I mean, I'm here, I'm there. I guess I am everywhere. But, thanks for having me on, guys. Congratulations on your 100th podcast.
Thank you.
Appreciate that.
It's been a long road with kids in between. And
I mean, I have one kid in between. You have it.
You're talking about this guy? You're talking about me, right?
Yeah. I just had my newborn on podcasting. It's all right. He didn't want to talk to you anyway. Don't worry. but he's up there with my wife now. So I'm here with we're here, and we're very happy to have you on because we saw your comment the other day with about Jalen Hurts and how he's improved since your initial comp and report and coming out of college and all that, and then just the slugs and the harsh world of Eagles Twitter came out, and it's just been a lack for a better word, a shit show since then, within your mentions and all that. So what have you seen from Jalen specifically that is definitely much better than when he was at Alabama and Oklahoma to where he is now?
Well, first of all, I sent that message on Twitter to Quincy Avery, who is a quarterback coach. He's worked with Trey Lance. He's worked with Justin Fields. Although Justin did not work with him pre-draft, he's done a lot with him. He's Deshaun Watson's personal quarterback coach. He is the one who ran Jalen Hurts' pro day whenever I was there with NFL Network. I was there watching it, and we did, I was on network to talk a little bit about the pro day workout I saw from CeeDee Lamb and Jalen Hurts. And anyway, so people will see Quincy saying something positive about Jalen, but I do want to say this. Quincy and I talk from time to time about a number of prospects, and he's pretty honest. I deal with different trainers. I deal with different agents. A lot of times they'll blow smoke, and I see what I see. So I'm not too phased about someone who I think is trying to, blow smoke up my ass. That's not something that's going to faze me. I've got my own opinions. And when I was at the pro day workout with Jalen, listen, the ball comes out really cleanly, tight spiral. I think he's got good zip on the ball. The arm talent and the arm strength, that's all people complain about, his arm strength. That's not a problem for me. It wasn't in college. It isn't now. My problem was, when he was at Alabama, I think I saw Calvin Ridley basically fair catch a couple of his deep ball throws. And it's not because he doesn't have arm strength. It's because he just gets it out late. He's got to get rid of it earlier. And I'm reaching back to my scouting report. For those who don't know, I write the NFL.com scouting reports on these players. Watch all the game tape on them. And so anyway, that was an issue with Jalen, is throwing on time, throwing with anticipation. And that's not just to open windows on intermediate and short routes, breaking open across the middle, between a safety and a Mike linebacker. I'm talking about throwing deep balls too, getting it out early so that you hit the guy down the field on time. So what I saw from him in college, I saw a tough guy who is good with the ball in his hands, who is a tremendous leader, every intangible you could ever imagine. I didn't see a full-time starting quarterback. And I wrote him up as a 6.0, which is a developmental prospect, more like a fourth-round type of guy who has some potential, but you have to, it may take some time to work with him. And I thought his ceiling was low-end starter with a chance to be a good backup to a low-end starter in the league. Now, some would say that's what he is right now, a low-end starter. Maybe he is. I don't know. What I can tell you is that I see a guy who has better command on the field as a passer. I think he's seeing the field better than he did in college. There's still work to be done. But he just has better command as a pro passer. I'm seeing a little better ball placement as a passer as well. And my point that I made the other day was from where I saw him at Alabama and Oklahoma. And I didn't think things got, markedly better when he was at Oklahoma and Lincoln. I'm blanking. Yeah. In his offense, I just thought, okay, it's an offense that's already produced 2 first picks of the draft back to back. But so I know what we're going to get from Jalen Hurts is going to be a good statistical model, but the tape didn't really match up with it. So what I'm watching right now with the Eagles, and I watch the Atlanta Falcons game, I watch the Cowboys game, and I watch the Chiefs game, all 3 of them. And I'm seeing a guy, and granted, he wasn't very good in the Cowboys game, but he was good in the Falcons game. And I thought that he was pretty good against Kansas City when I was watching. I thought he made some really good throws. So what I'm looking for is he making strides as an NFL passer and an NFL, a guy who commands the offense as a passer and as a quarterback in the league? And I just think it's unquestionably a yes for what I've seen. Am I calling him a great NFL quarterback right now? No. But what I am surprised at is that people are so willing to write him off after having 8 NFL starts. I mean, that's insane to me based on the level of growth that I've seen from him from last year to this year. He's definitely growing as a quarterback, and you have to give young quarterbacks a chance to elevate their game and learn the game and learn coverages and things like that. And I think he's doing that. I really do. Obviously, the final assessment of Jalen Hurts is not going to come for quite some time. So I was obviously very surprised to see Philly fans have such strong opinions either way about Jalen Hurts. All I said on there was, man, he's definitely growing as a passer. I think there's just no way around the fact that he has definitely improved from his college days. And I'll definitely put a stamp on that.
Now, you talked a bit about growth from college to the NFL, but also from last year to this year. We saw a few games last year, especially the Cardinals game, where he looked pretty good as a passer, but had off games as well, similar to this year. How much of this do you think is a product of a new coaching staff? Because they are kind of evaluating the new coaching staff as well and how they can develop this quarterback. Do you see Jalen Hurts, kind of producing this on his own and getting better on his own? Do you see it as a product of the system or a bit of both? And do you think that this is replicable if they move on from this coaching staff or move in a different direction?
I think his growth, first and foremost, he's at such an early stage of his development as an NFL quarterback that there was going to be a level of growth no matter who the head coach was and what staff was there. He was going to learn through a full-time job of reading defenses, sitting in film sessions. His work ethic is undeniable, and it's legendary, really, physically and mentally. So he's going to put the time in. So he was going to get better. There was just no way around that. He was going to be a better football player moving forward as a quarterback in certain ways, in terms of recognition of this and making certain throws that he was going to be asked to make in the NFL level, especially when you look at, adding Devontae Smith. That was just to have the 2 tight ends you have and Devontae Smith. That's a really big deal in terms of upgrading. And, I thought Kenneth Gainwell did a really nice job on Sunday as well. But to the point you're making about Sirianni, I think he will help him coming from where he came from. I think he's going to help Jalen as a pro quarterback, as a guy who is going to learn to throw from the pocket and be successful or potentially successful from the pocket. I think that one of the things that's going to happen is, and one of the things that is happening is, Jalen is going to he's going to have some really good games and some really bad games. Mm-hmm. And what you want to happen is you want that, chasm to close between the really good and the really bad. And that's going to take time. That's true for all rookies. I mean, you can go back to Peyton Manning, and that was true for Peyton Manning. It's true for all rookies. The question is, can they close that chasm down so that they're more consistent? That's going to take time, and it's not even a lock that it's going to happen. It really involves being able to read defenses pre and post snap. It's having an understanding and a feel for where to go with the football when the play is called in the headset, in the helmet, of what your game plan is going to be. That's true quarterbacking in the NFL level, is playing that chess. And right now, Jalen is a checkers player who is starting to show some signs of being able to play a little chess, but he's got a long way to go, like all these young quarterbacks do. And that will ultimately determine whether or not he is an average NFL quarterback or a good NFL quarterback, is when he learns to start playing some chess with defensive coordinators and having a feel for what he's going to do. Let me just tell you this about Deshaun Watson, because I saw a lot of Deshaun Watson here, and I know Quincy and I have talked about this a little bit as well. There were times where Deshaun, he came into the league making big plays, but he also was responsible for a lot of sacks. He was responsible for throwing into coverages. Deshaun was an outstanding playmaker who just, his playmaking talent just would outshine the mistakes that he would make mentally on the field or his lack of recognition at times. And then what happened by year 3 was, but I guess it was year 4 technically, 17, 18, 19, 20. So last year, he started to recognize certain pressure looks. He started to get rid of the ball a little more quickly rather than hang on to it. He started to play chess a little bit. It took him 4 years. Now, he was an incredible playmaker, and he was a guy who beat Alabama in a national championship game and, had an amazing 6-game run his first year in the league. So he had all these plaudits from around the league. It took him 4 years before he really started to play that chess match, and that was just the initial stages. So it takes a while for that to happen, and you just want to see that growth sooner rather than later. You want to see signs of it. Sirianni, I think, is going to help. But I think the fact that Jalen's willing to put the time in and that it really matters to him being a leader and being a smart pocket quarterback when he needs to be, I think those are key elements that give him a chance to succeed. But ultimately, that answer about if he can become a chess player, not a checkers player, that's just not going to be answered. It's going to take more than 8 games. So Eagles fans arguing about it to me is kind of silly because that answer is not going to be had for a while.
So to kind of pick your brain, because you did bring up Deshaun Watson. Unfortunately, I have a question about that. Deshaun Watson is 25. Jalen Hurts is 23 years old, and obviously Eagles fans are in the same mindset of, hey, Howie Roseman looks at the Eagles as a quarterback factory. Howie Roseman also stated that, they're going to really evaluate Jalen Hurts this season. Eagles have possibly 3 first-round picks entering the offseason. In your opinion, is it more so like, hey, Jalen Hurts is young, let's kind of ride with this wave, let's build around him and see what happens? Or do you invest in a player, even though he has a lot of baggage because everything that's going on, and as Deshaun Watson or possibly Russell Wilson or even Darren Rodgers right now in the offseason?
Yeah, so, that's a tough question. First and foremost, as far as Deshaun Watson goes, he would have to want to be traded to Philadelphia because the Texans gave him a no-trade clause. So, I think there were 3 teams. I don't know where it currently stands. I know at one point I think there were 3 teams he would have really liked to have played, and one of them wasn't in Philadelphia. So, but I don't know what happens now. I don't know how that changes in the future, and whether or not Deshaun would give the go ahead to go to Philadelphia. I don't know. I think Devontae Smith certainly helps, having a talented wide receiver there. As far as overall for the Eagles, that's a tough question because I don't think the Eagles have a championship caliber defense. And I don't think they have championship caliber players around the quarterback. I mean, the offensive line used to be incredible, but there's holes now. The running game, there needs to be a greater commitment to the running game without question. You guys kind of referenced it a little bit. You want to be able – look, Jalen Hurts needs to be a guy who operates off of the running game. And you don't ask a ton of them right now. You work behind that running game. You let the running game succeed. And then, at different times you let Jalen cut it loose as a passer, and other times you keep him, working off the run game and some play action, and you're keeping defenses honest. Aaron Rodgers, I don't think this would be a situation where he thinks he can win a title. Mm-hmm. So I think Aaron Rodgers would say no. Russell Wilson, you never know with Russell Wilson. If I had a chance to get a Russell Wilson, I'd probably look at that if I were Seattle. If Russell Wilson were interested in Seattle, he's an upgrade from Jalen Hurts. There's no way around it. The benefit with Jalen Hurts is you're working with a rookie contract that is a second-round contract, which is beneficial. The negative is it's a 4-year deal, so you have to make decisions a little bit faster. But look, as much as I think Jalen has grown as a passer and a quarterback, I mean, come on, he's not in the same class, even close, with Russell Wilson. Russell's an elite quarterback in the league. So, yeah, I think Watson is – I don't know that Watson would come. I think Aaron Rodgers for sure would not target Philadelphia. So, you have to really, if you're Philadelphia, I wouldn't be in a rush for quarterback this year unless it's an elite quarterback. If not, see what you've got with Jalen Hurts. And it's early right now for me to evaluate the quarterbacks. I'm kind of a fan of Matt Corral being an early pick if he comes out, but I'm not in love with this quarterback class right now. So once again, I haven't studied it in depth, but I look at this for the Texans as well. I do radio in Houston, and so Texans are going to be in need of a quarterback, and they got a situation with Davis Mills where, there's even talk that maybe they, play it by ear with the quarterback position next year if they don't love the quarterback class, roll with Davis Mills, and then just kind of wait it out for the next year when the next group of quarterbacks come out. So if you're Philadelphia, I think I see enough right now personally from Jalen Hurts that I might be willing to sit tight at quarterback and shoot at some different positions, because it's not like there aren't holes that need to be filled in Philadelphia, especially I think on that offensive line where it was once a dominant line. I think it needs some work right now. Of course, being healthy also, that helps.
That helps a lot.
Yeah, and you mentioned championship caliber players around them, which is true. Like there's outside of Devonta Smith, really can't pinpoint one player that offense you can really be excited about. I mean, Miles Sanders is not being utilized a lot. Kenny Gainwell, I'm very excited about actually. He's showing a lot that he can be really a steal coming out of the third round. But there's a lot of talk around Jalen Reagor and how is he being utilized now? Was he worth that first round pick? Did the Eagles really reach for him? The whole Reagor versus Justin Jefferson.
You can ask him the question you want to ask him. Go ahead.
No, it's nothing about trades.
The question. Go ahead.
Nothing about trades.
No.
So how do you grading Jalen out of TCU from there till now? Is it just a matter of he's not being used the right way, or is this guy just not there?
No, it's so here's the thing. I thought his junior tape was pretty good. His senior tape wasn't that great, and I saw him quit on routes. I saw bad body language, and it was a bad situation for him. Like the quarterback play wasn't good. He got frustrated. I get it, but his tape wasn't as good his senior year as it was his junior year. Then he had this outstanding workout, but it was in the middle of COVID, and what happened was Howie Roseman kind of, and I'm sure you guys probably already know the story, but Howie watched this workout on like a Zoom or FaceTime of Jalen working out. He was here in Houston with Danny Arnold at Plex, and Jalen had this workout, and Howie saw it. And from what I understand from some sources there in Philadelphia, Philadelphia was on Justin Jefferson pretty hard, and I think that workout from Jalen Reagor was maybe captivated Howie. It was a phenomenal workout by Jalen. He's an incredible athlete. But I think maybe Howie got caught up in this amazing workout and leaned on that as opposed to sticking with the football guy. And if I remember correctly, I think there may have been some division inside the building period about Reagor versus Jefferson. And it might have been with the old coaching staff. So, yeah, I think, for me, Jalen was always kind of a hot, cold player coming into the league. That's how I wrote him up. He had his hit or miss qualities, had some great physical attributes, but was inconsistent as a football player. And Justin Jefferson was coming off the season where he looked incredible with Joe Burrow, but he didn't look as good the year before. And I wasn't sure if he needed to play the slot or if he could play outside, because he wasn't as good outside as he was when he – I think that, for me, it's just, there's just not going to be a comparison between those two players in their NFL careers. I think with Reagor, you want to just get the ball in his hands and let him make some explosive plays. I don't think he's a guy that you just run routes with and you're looking to run this and run that, a DK Metcalf type guy. You're not, that's not who he is. I think what he is the guy you got to get some catch and run stuff going with him, quick slants, crossing routes, some wide receiver screens, get the ball in his hands, make him part of the game, get him engaged with the game. But the best way to do that, I think, is in quick game. I think that's the best way to do it for Jalen Reagor, rather than trying to use him as a standard outside wide receiver. I just don't think that's where you're going to get the most from him.
So, quick question, Lance, just for shits and giggles. If you're an opposing team and say Jalen Reagor is available for trade, what would you invest in Jalen Reagor if you're the Green Bay Packers or Buffalo Bills?
That's saying like if they lost a wide receiver and they're like going towards a trade deadline and saying they need a wide receiver. They don't really care about future draft picks because they're in win now mode. Obviously, Reagor you have to go to an offense that really. Oh,
damn it!
Didn't like that question.
That did it. See, Brian? Yeah, that's why I didn't bring it up.
No, he definitely was having connection issues, so it's okay. He'll be back in a second. But to answer the questions, some questions in the chat, Drew. Yeah, there he is.
Can you hear me, guys?
Yes, we can.
All right. Sorry about that.
No problem. Did you guys
my
hear the
wife
last
calling
question?
me breaking up my podcast? So hopefully, I didn't know. Hopefully, you got the part that I said quick game and all that stuff.
No, we got all that.
Okay, I just couldn't hear you guys. Okay.
So my last question, for shits and giggles, pretty much. If you're an opposing team and you're looking at the Eagles, and the Eagles are selling everything, pretty much, right? And Jalen Reagor is available, what would you invest in Jalen Reagor?
Probably a fourth or fifth. I mean, I'm serious. He's got 2 years, 2 years down on the contract with 3 to go, but one of them is going to be a 5th-year option. Right now, it doesn't look like that's something I'm going to pick up. So basically, I'm renting a player for 2 years. Is it 2 years or 3 years? Yeah, it's 2 years. So what is the rental?
I guess if they pick up the 5th-year option,
yeah. If you pick it up, and why would you pick it up for the amount of money it's going to be? Not. I wouldn't right now based on how he's playing. So 2-year rental on a guy I'm paying first-round money who has been inconsistent. I mean, honestly, I just don't think I'd give up more than a fifth. I might give up a fourth. I'm not giving up more than that, though.
Okay. We see eye to eye, Lance. That's all I want to say. We see eye to eye.
I want him to be better. I know his agent. I mean, I want Reagor to be better, but I do think there are some things Philadelphia can do to help him. I just mentioned that. I think there are things you can do. But what I'm not going to do is compromise my offense, compromise Jalen Hurts, compromise Miles Sanders, compromise Devontae Smith for Jalen Reagor. That's not happening. I'm not compromising what we're doing for one guy.
So speaking, you mentioned Miles Sanders, and I think that's been a debate between the three of us right now. Miles Sanders, I personally feel like he's underutilized in his offense, and not properly utilized per se. What have you seen from the Eagles' run game? I mean, it hasn't been much of a run game, but what have you seen so far?
It's funny because I was looking at some data points, I guess, after the first 2 weeks, and the Eagles, Eagles play. They play with good tempo, which I think is important. But I don't think there's been a standard commitment to the running game. Sometimes you have to work backwards. You have to work off the first down pass and loosen it up. Maybe get ahead of the sticks a little bit, a 2nd and 5 situation, and then run the football. Maybe the next two downs to get you 5 yards. I have not seen a commitment to the running game up to this point right now. I think that's something when you look at what the Indianapolis Colts do is sometimes they have a tendency to get away from the running game as well. And I say that just because of where Sirianni came from. I'm kind of old school. My dad was an O-line coach. I think there are certain quarterbacks where you want to run the football and you want to establish a run and you want to establish a style of football that you're going to play. I don't really think Philadelphia is made to be necessarily a tempo team who is going to, just kind of finesse you. I don't think that's the quarterback you have. To me, what Jalen Hurts is a very good passing Tim Tebow. And I'm talking about the college version, not the pro version. I'm talking about a guy who can get in there and hit you like a hammerhead as a runner sometimes, run the zone read stuff with him, run quarterback, the quarterback sweeps with him from time to time if you want to as part of the running game. I was at the Alabama LSU game. God, I guess it was like 4 years ago where it was a very, very tight game at Tiger Stadium. And then Alabama they just basically cranked up the diesel, and it was direct snaps to Jalen, and he was taking off running, and they just started, pounding LSU, and they won the game fairly convincingly in the second half. And I think what's interesting is he's kind of that rare quarterback that can do some of those things. So you know what? If you want to get the running game going, use him in that way. Use Miles Sanders, use Gainwell to change your pace back. But I think that it would be smarter for him to carry less of the water from a passing standpoint, just because there's always, at some point, there's always going to be a regression for young quarterbacks when you ask them to throw too much. There always is. And Jalen's no exception. So to me, it's going to get down to finding ways to scheme the run a little bit better from a personnel grouping package. And then number two, it's just a mindset. Like, we're going to do this. This is what we're going to do this game. And we're not getting away from our game plan and our offensive install just because we get down, 10 points early in the game or something like that. You just can't do it.
I completely agree with that. You guys have any other questions for Lance?
Yeah, I mean, I know you said you haven't done any work on the QBs next year, and I'm not really looking at them either because I'm on the same boat as give Jalen more than 8 starts crowd. I just I see obviously his numbers look good right now. It's just really you got to look at the actual game and see what's going on. A lot of his numbers are what Eagles fans like to call Dak's numbers in last year and the year before were garbage time stats. A lot of fourth quarter stuff. But I'm not there yet. What I am on is a old draft model that the Eagles did back in the early 2000s of double dipping, triple dipping in the secondary. Right now, let's say the Colts pick goes to the Eagles. Right now, I think Carson Wentz is at 98% of snaps after 4 games. Who should they? Do you think they should go all 3 defense? I mean, right now you're looking at Darius Slay is going to be at 31, 32 next year. Steven Nelson, who fans were clamoring for.
He's just a guy.
Yeah, he's just there right now. It's just, and he's on a 1-year deal. Anthony Harris is on a 1-year deal. Rodney McLeod is coming off ACL injury. He's finally back. You might not have the secondary starters at all next year. So and linebackers, that's just they're just there too. So where do you think they should go as of right now, standing after 4 games, especially after giving up 40 points the last couple weeks?
Yeah, that's been an issue. I think that the draft board dictates how you're going to allocate your picks. So it's impossible for me to because I do this exercise all the time. I can't just say, well, you're going to pick this, and this. I got to see what the players look like, and I can see how deep the secondary is in this year's draft. What I would say, though, is it has to be a priority. I mean, I think what you've done on your you just signed, you just gave an extension to a left tackle. Lane Johnson's still your right tackle. You still got Brandon Brooks. Kelsey, I don't know. Is this it? I mean, is this going to be the last year for Kelsey? I know there's been talk about it. You guys would know better than me. But, for me, I think I would be looking at a makeover on the defense. I think based on what you did last year, the last 2 years, really last 3 years in the draft with some of the earlier picks on the offensive side, I think I would definitely take a strong look at really best available throughout from level 1, level 2, and especially level 3. And your free agency money probably is going to have to be allocated to someone who can be one of your top 3 cornerbacks as well. That's just something that's probably going to happen. You're going to have to buy your way into some secondary help, because even if you allocate draft picks to the secondary, it doesn't happen right away. Like, that's something that's still going to take some time. So you'd like some help right away, because, going into the year, it felt like the NFC East was a little bit of a toss up, but right now it's just like Dallas and everybody else.
That's very true. That's a scary thought for Eagles fans to see Dallas win the division once again. But I mean, I think I can speak for the 3 of us on the podcast. But
they're doing it because they're doing it because they went and got Trayvon Diggs. And I thought he went later than he should have. He has phenomenal ball skills, great traits. And I think that's a real key, is Philadelphia's got to make, I think they're going to have to make, I guess getting back to your point, it's going to have to be, cornerback has to be a high priority, whether it's an early round pick, within a day 1, day 2, you're going to get the Colts picks more than likely. So I think you are going to have to scout it effectively, but cornerback is going to have to be double dipping. I saw Minnesota Vikings do that a couple years ago with Cam Dantzler and the kid out of TCU that ended up getting in trouble with the law. But it's going to have to.
Jeff Gladney.
Yeah, Jeff Gladney. Yeah, they did that year, and I thought that was smart for what they needed. But I didn't anticipate Gladney getting in trouble with the law that quickly. But it's probably something that Philadelphia is going to have to consider, because when you look in the division, look, Washington's a long way away as a passing team. Obviously, right now, or at least long term, they don't have the answer yet at quarterback. You don't really know with the Giants, but probably not. But Dallas is still, they're cooking. So CeeDee Lamb is a young guy also. Dak looks really, really good. You got to draft for your division. And if the best team in your division is the Cowboys, you're going to have to find 3 quality. You have to have 3 quality cornerbacks on the field at all times. So looks like the draft.
So speaking about the Cowboys, before you actually jumped on the podcast, they actually Adam Schefter broke the news that they cut linebacker Jalen Smith. Of course, this entices Eagles fans to go after it because they say it's a linebacker and we lack linebackers. But Chris and Morgan, I think Morgan as well, don't believe that, Jalen Smith is a great linebacker anymore. I mean, the name carries more weight than the play does recently. What are your thoughts on if, any team taking a chance on Jalen Smith right now?
Well, he can still run. I mean, Jalen can still run. He's still going to be an upgrade for a lot of teams. That's a division linebacker. So if you have a chance to put him on the team and extract as much information about the Cowboys game plan as possible, I mean, it's a division foe. Now, granted, you've already played him one time, but it's still something that might be worth the Eagles' time, because you do get some inside information about the Cowboys for the second game around. You want to make sure he's healthy still. You want to make sure that, you want to go watch the tape on him. And you're right. Sometimes it is more name than game. When a guy gets cut and everyone's really surprised, look, they're getting cut for a reason. I know they may have a big name, but Dallas is loaded at linebacker right now. They drafted 2 linebackers. One of them's playing defensive end, but they're pretty loaded at linebacker. So for them to cut Jalen Smith tells me one of 2 things. They don't want to pay the guarantee money of the contract, or they don't really love the dynamic in the locker room with him. Maybe there was something going on there where he was not happy. So it's one of the 2. Both of them have to be looked at. But yeah, if I'm the Eagles, I absolutely take. I mean, a guy who can swarm to the ball and can run. Yeah, why not? Look at everything available. No one's job. Well, there's a few jobs on that defensive front that are safe, obviously, but from linebacker back, no one's job is 100% safe. So you might as well at least sniff around on everything that's out there.
I'm all for it.
And I'm not saying he can. I'm not saying he will help, but you got to do your due diligence on everybody, because look, I mean, you got to start putting some wins together soon.
I mean, I guess you need someone faster to cover wide receivers. That Jonathan Gannon said today that if he had one play to take back, it would be not putting Eric Wilson on Tyreek Hill. So maybe
still don't know how you do that or why you do that.
That's not the greatest scheme I've ever seen.
We had shades of Nate Gary on Chase Claypool.
Yeah. Well, but it's funny because last year when the Texans played the Kansas City Chiefs, there was a game where the safety they had Mecole Hardman matched up on a safety who had no chance to stand with him deep, and he got toasted deep, and everyone's like, why, what's with that scheme? And you end up asking the coaching staff, and they'll end up telling you there's just certain teams, and the Chiefs are one of them, where there's not a bunch of favorable matchups. They line them up a certain way specifically to mismatch you, and then they're going to get their speed. When they find your alignment doesn't match up well with their alignment, they attack it, and they work their tails off to put that together. put those schemes together so that they can take advantage of things like that. With
Lance,
that said, that was horrible for the Eagles.
Listen, I know we only have a certain amount of time with you, but I just wanted to ask on your comments on Fletcher Cox and his projection going forward. I know that Javon Hargrave's been playing, out of control, and just how you see Fletcher Cox fitting into the Eagles' future, and whether you think he's going to regain that kind of all-star status.
He probably won't. I will just based on the age and wearing down, he's probably not going to regain all-star status. I mean, at some point the body wears down and they just don't get it back. You're just not going to get it back at some point, because when you're in the trenches, the physical wear and tear, it's law of diminishing returns at that position. With that said, I haven't watched him closely enough to give you a good idea of how he's playing this year. So I'm really, I'm not watching the all 22, breaking it down real tight. I'm pretty much just watching on Sundays like the rest of you guys are. So I really can't give you good insight right now into Fletcher.
That's fair. I appreciate it.
Yeah, but Lance, we really, really appreciate you coming on. Like I honestly DM'd you not expecting a reply like all my DMs to everybody else go. So
listen,
I shoot my shot.
First.
I shoot my shot.
There's like 4 Eagles podcasts or YouTubers or whatever that were trying to get me on. I just had no idea this was this big fight with Eagles fans. I didn't know what I was stepping into.
It's not really. It's not really a fight. It's just a bunch of children just arguing with each other and just about stupid shit.
But you got to blame the organization, because the organization has focused on his QB.
Howie Roseman has made us this way.
Yeah, he kind of ruined the idea of a quarterback and developing. So, yeah. But we do thank you for coming on, Lance. Honestly, it's been a pleasure. If we could get you on in the future, that would be phenomenal as well. When Chris mentioned it to Morgan and myself, we were kind of shocked and taken back by it. So, thank you for coming on. Absolutely. I'm grateful.
All right. Appreciate it. Well, once again, congratulations, guys, and keep pushing forward. Good luck with the Eagles.
Thank you so much.
All right. We'll see you guys.
Thank you.
Take care. All right, guys. So that was Lance from the NFL Draft Network. He's a draft analyst for NFL.com, and he also is a co-host of The Bench in Houston. But I don't know. I'm kind of intrigued now, because the chat has been blowing up about Jalen Smith. And by the way, I won the bet of Jalen Reagor. Just put that out there. Jalen Smith. I mean, is it really that bad? Like, if we're in a rebuilding and retooling year,
I guess at this point, who cares? Like, just see what happens. I guess throw shit at the wall, see what sticks. I guess.
I thought it was really interesting that he's like, oh, you can steal tactics from him. I was like, damn, I know you do that with. Well, I know you do that with like Corey Clement and guys like that, like practice squad players. But I don't know. You give a guy that deserves a fairly sizable contract that kind of money just to steal secrets from him. Like, I wasn't sure that, that's crazy. Insider information, man.
Absolutely.
I mean, we don't play them again until the last game of the season, but
yeah, it won't be bad. In my opinion, with his speed and his experience, it's better than what we have in the locker room. I think Eric Wilson is a very overhyped signing, and it's a little bit like, yeah, he has an interception, but it's kind of right place, right time tactic kind of thing. And I don't feel like we've seen a jump from Alex Singleton from last year to this year.
Here's the thing, though. You run a defense that really relies on smart linebackers. I don't know that Jalen Smith is an intelligent player. Like, obviously, he's in the NFL. He's a smart guy, but that's not his calling card. So
and I feel like a guy like Jalen Smith, to help him regain what he was, would need a really well-established, experienced defensive coordinator or linebackers coach.
He has a very, very well-established defensive line to play behind.
Okay, but the Cowboys kind of did too.
This is why not to the same level.
Not the same level, but they Randy Gregory, DeMarcus Lawrence when he was healthy, they got pretty good defensive tackles too. It doesn't matter about defensive line play if you're getting lost out there in the open field.
Well, it's better than Eric Wilson getting lost. I mean, he's going the opposite direction, and Alex Singleton as well going the opposite direction on run plays. So at this point, anything's an upgrade.
this is I know we had only had a certain amount of time with him. But this is what I want to know about Fletch because I feel like it won't surprise me if the first pick off the board for the Eagles is a defensive tackle.
I don't think it'll surprise anybody at this point.
I think that fixes, in Howie's mind at least, and honestly, it might on the field too, but I feel like that fixes a lot of problems of what you've been having with linebackers. Like, there is massive gaps between the A gaps and B gaps. Huge. And at that point, like, Eric Wilson's a good linebacker, but he's not stopping Clyde Edwards-Helaire in a two-way situation where he can juke you. Like, it's just not, like – it's it's not great. You'd like to see them make more plays than they are, but they're really not being putting them in a position to succeed. Which,
well, apparently, we're not putting Alex in a position to succeed right now with the B gap and A gap.
Yeah, tough.
I feel for you, Alex. Yeah, sorry, Alex, but yeah, I gotta go, guys.
Oh,
you guys can finish.
All right, sounds good. So Chris will be back next week. I want to say, but yeah, I completely agree with you. But I don't know. I think it makes all the sense in the world to just take the chance on Jalen Smith. You don't know where you're gonna get. You don't know where you're not gonna get, and it doesn't matter because it's most likely a 1-year deal to the end of the season. If he shows up in a better I don't want to say better scheme. If he shows up in a scheme that possibly values him more than what the Cowboys did, because remember, the Cowboys drafted Michael Parsons and Jabril Cox. I don't think Cox has touched the field yet. And they also have Van Der Esch. So already Jalen is highly the odd man out. He did have a down season last year, but he's quick, man. And that's what the Eagles need right now. They need that. The Eagles defense needs opposing offenses to see the defense and say, like, hey, they had this guy as a linebacker. I don't care what stats say right now. His name carries weight, in my opinion. That's what they need. Like Malcolm Jenkins was that guy. You were able to get away with a lot because of Malcolm Jenkins. Go ahead.
Well, that's a fair point. I feel like one thing we're kind of overlooking is how much it would mean for the coaching staff, for the organization to say, hey, we're going to get those free agents, that the big name guys at the linebacker position. We had this conversation on Thursdays. When are the Eagles going to start spending on linebacker? Mm-hmm. Well, I think going out and getting this guy, I was just looking at his contract because it really depends on how much he's going to ask for.
Yeah.
It's about $7-8 million right now. You assume it's going to be a bit less since he just got cut. But if it's anything near that, I don't know that it makes sense for the Eagles, just where they're at. But if he's willing to sign an FU deal with a division rival, similar to what we saw with Kerrigan, essentially. Kerrigan's a little older, but you pick up the phone. Absolutely. And then it's, hey, maybe we don't have to spend a first-round pick on a linebacker next year, although I hope they do. I'm not sure they are going to anyways.
I think they probably won't, but look at it like this. Like, if they sign Jalen Smith, next year's free agent class of linebackers, Dante Hightower, he's not coming. Gerard Davis from the Jets, most likely Jets lock him up. Jayon Brown from Tennessee, he didn't leave last time. He's not going to leave again. A.J. Johnson, Christian Kirksey, Anthony Walker. Like, it's not names that really stick out and say, like, hey, like, this could be the guy in the middle of the defense. You take the shot if you can. I mean, nobody says he's going to come because, hey, if you're a Cowboy, you're a Cowboy at the end of the day. There's no guarantee you want to go to the opposing team in your division. But Kerrigan did do it. So maybe there's a chance.
Yeah, he could be the next Orlando Scandrick, which would be fantastic.
No, come on. We're trying to think positive. It's episode 100. Chris bailed on us right now. We did have Lance on, which was phenomenal to get all his insight, especially on Jalen Hurts. So
I should have taken receipts, man, because there's a lot of things that Lance said that we've been saying for a bit of time now.
Well, I should have taken receipts on that Jalen Reagor trade value that everybody said I was wrong about. Chris actually said in the chat that I was smoking because I said, hey, 4th to 6th round is his value, and that's what Lance sees the value at. But my key takeaway is the Jalen Hurts talk. Like, we do have a minimum amount of people than we usually do have on the chat today. So shout out to everybody that's joined us for our 100th episode. We really appreciate your support and everything.
Can you pop up Alex's comment right there? Because Kyle Hamilton. Oh, the last one. Wait. No,
what are you
Ted.
talking
Sorry. Ted's coming. Kyle Hamilton. Safety
why
out of
can't
Notre Dame.
why
Safety
can't
out
I
of
see this comment?
Safety out of Notre Dame. Anyways, doesn't matter. Kyle Hamilton, absolutely.
Yeah, they
He's
should
my
definitely draft him.
first round draft crush. It's obviously because he's my draft crush. The Eagles aren't going to grab him. That's just the way things seem to
It
go.
always happens like that. But hey, listen, Kenny Gainwell was my draft crush. Eagles grabbed him. Miles Sanders, my draft crush. Eagles grabbed him. Devontae Smith, Eagles grabbed him. I'm not gonna lie, Kyle Hamilton has been catching my eye from the season so far. So yeah, if I could keep on kind of just looking at his tape and everything of that sorts, it'll be great for the Eagles to get a safety to pair with Kayvon Wallace. For the future, I don't see Rodney McLeod or Anthony Harris coming back. But one thing I wanted to say was we have to be, and I saying this myself as well because I've been kind of ranting against Jalen for the past couple of podcasts. But we have to be patient with Jalen Hurts. I mean, looking at the numbers, like he's on pace for almost 4,700 yards passing.
Oh yeah, this is the receipt. This is the receipt.
Almost 30 touchdowns, almost 2 interceptions. I mean, I'm sorry, almost. I think it was like 6 or 7 interceptions. Like that's a pretty damn good season in anybody's book. Yeah. I don't care if he's not like. And I said this to you multiple times. His best blueprint is Dak Prescott. Because he needs to be a game manager first and develop into the elite quarterback. It's going to happen with time. Quarterbacks are able to develop. You have to give them time, and they have to have consistency behind them, which means they have to have the same coaching staff. Nick Sirianni's not going nowhere. Nobody in that staff is going anywhere. This is not Doug Peterson's staff. This is a young staff that they invested in for a purpose. I weirdly believe in Jalen Hurts because, like, stardom just fits him, in my opinion. Like he has this like kind of light to him, and as much as it frustrates me when he does stare down his receivers, I gotta remember, hey, he's 8 games into his career. He needs to develop at the end of the day, point blank.
Yeah, I mean, how many doubters did Baker Mayfield have after his first season? Not a great season.
Yeah, absolutely.
But there's something to be said, and what you're mentioning is there's something to be said for a winner, and you really need that at the quarterback position. I think that one of the issues we saw with Carson Wentz is I know it's, won a few D2 championships, but hurt himself for the one championship. The guy, like, as much as I like him, wasn't really didn't really have that like winner about him. Like he wanted to believe it. We kind of forced it upon him. Yeah. He got us that one season, pulled us to the playoffs, had that MVP season. Mm-hmm. But I think that's what we really saw is that, Nick Foles was like, had that winner, that dog mentality. And we were kind of waiting to see that out of Carson. And I think now that we've seen with the Colts, it's just like, the arm talent's all there. Mm-hmm. The decision-making is questionable, but, it's NFL caliber. Just doesn't have that, like, that dog in him. Yeah, I see that in Jalen Hurts. Obviously, none of that matters if he keeps making all the mistakes we've seen.
So a key thing that Lance said is Jalen Hurts it's not about arm strength. It's not about that at all. Timing. It's about timing. And we've seen that. We've seen the pass into double coverage. We've seen the pass to Jalen Reagor, being completely off as well. Yeah. If he gets his timing down, like, what can really stop this offense at that point?
So there's that one. There's that receipt. This is what I was saying. Footwork. It's timing, right? As soon as he gets off that clock, that internal clock, you'll see it. It's obvious. I feel like we're all seeing it now. He's rolling out. There's a clock. There's like a little thing in all quarterbacks' head. And for Peyton Manning, for Tom Brady, that's I need to get the ball out. For Jalen Hurts, that's I need to start running, right? And so that change needs to happen. And then the second with the timing is he knows he's behind his receiver, so he's trying to get the ball out as quickly as possible. His feet aren't set. So I think that's big. The other one that I really want to pull is I was saying, I think this is our Thursday segment with Essie.
Okay.
And I was saying, in this draft, you need to go 3 defense, and you can win playoff games with Jalen Hurts at quarterback.
Yes, absolutely.
And here you go.
Has that edge to win playoff
NFL analyst Lance Zierlein. Hey, they need to go 3 defense. They can win with this quarterback. So that was validating. That was nice to hear.
No, absolutely.
I had a great 100th episode. I don't know about you, Brian.
I felt great. And listen, when Lance said that Jalen Reagor would go for a 4th-round pick, the highest, that made me warm inside.
You didn't pull up the phone.
No. Listen, I'm gonna put it in the chat. I'm gonna definitely put it in the chat. If I have to, I'll put a video in the chat. But that definitely, made me feel good because I know I'm not seeing. I know I'm not smoking according to Chris's terms. But listen, like I said in the beginning of the podcast, I was really satisfied with the last game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious as to how they're gonna look against Carolina because if you put up 32 points against the Chiefs, I know they have a suspect defense, but you kept up with them. You would have won had it not been for bonehead penalties. The J-Jaw penalty, the Zach Ertz penalty, so many issues. And we're 4 weeks in. 5 weeks in, it has to turn off. Like you gotta be professional. You gotta know what you're doing. It's your job at the end of the day. You get paid millions of dollars to do it. Just do what you got to do. But I'm curious to see if Jalen Hurts carries that same rhythm, that same consistency that he had against Kansas City into the game against the Panthers.
Yeah,
because he's not going against Pat Mahomes.
We're not doing our. We didn't mention this, but unfortunately, Brian and I are both kind of busy this week. We're not doing our Thursday episode. By the way, it's been going fantastic, guys. Thank you for all your questions.
The last episode, I think, had over 300 views the night of, which was phenomenal. So hats off to all you guys.
But unfortunately, just not able to do it this week. However, on that podcast, we usually do a prediction for the next game. So we could do that.
Do it. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, we could do that now.
All right, so Panthers and Eagles, right?
Yeah. And you can get some keys to the game too, a little analysis because we do that now,
So I would love to say the key to the game is going to be the run game. At the end of the day, that's my opinion, because 5 weeks in, if you don't get this run game established, what the hell are you doing on offense? This can't and I said it so many times on Twitter. If they don't establish a run game, I'm feeling Chip Kelly in 2015. Sam Bradford just passing out a shotgun every single time. That's what pisses me off about the Miles Sanders run, because it's out of shotgun. And if you I watched the 22 this morning. If you actually look at it, he's running into a dog pile because he's getting the handoff late. Kenny Gainwell's getting these great runs. He's getting these great calls. Give Miles Sanders the same respect. That's all I'm asking for. If you had to, counteract the defense with both of them, use both of them. You've used both of them so far throughout the season. But the run game has to be established, in my opinion. It can't be Jalen leading the run game no more. You got to preserve him. And a big key to the victory, he has to throw for less than 30 attempts. You can't have him throwing for 50 attempts back-to-back games. That's not. How can I say that? It's not sustainable. He's not gonna last. You're gonna wear him down for no reason. Use the run game to your best. Use the run game, point blank. Use the tight ends how you used them in the last game. Target Devontae Smith how you targeted him the last game. Pretty much run the same offense, but just add the run game to it. If you do that, you're gonna beat the Panthers. I'm gonna go with 31-24.
All right. Yeah, I mean, I like your analysis. I think it's correct. I think no matter what the team they're playing against, that's really what we need to see is the run game get going. Up until last week, the Panthers had one of the better run defense in the league, and then they hit the Cowboys wall. And they're not the first team to see that.
And
the Eagles had the same trouble. Lost Jason Horn. So what I think is going to happen is it's going to be a mess. To be honest, I think that there's a pretty solid scheme, if not players, and I think there's going to be some injuries that play a huge factor. Obviously, J.C. Horn's one. They lost a couple others in the secondary as well. I don't see the trend changing. I don't think they're going to run the ball. I think they're going to try and pass against this defense, and it's going to go how it went against the 49ers. However, the 49ers are a much better team. Mm-hmm. So what I think is we're going to have one of those weird scoring games. It's going to be like 18-11 or something like that. One of those how do we even get to this score kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Might be like a safety or something in there. But I just think that, again, this isn't this. Okay. Another thing is we talked about before the season about the games, the keys, to the season, these games. And this is the one I mentioned, is can they get their identity by this game when they're playing a team? And again, we didn't know the Panthers were going to be 3-1 and be as good as they are. But barely beat the Jets, beat up on the Saints, which I think just aren't as good of a team as people thought they were going to be.
Very overhyped team.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the Saints, not talking about the Panthers.
Right. Yeah. And then beat the Texans. So I don't think they're a 3-1 team. They've had some lucky games. So I think this is still a beatable team. They're better than we thought they were. But I just see this game being kind of messy, just back and forth. Hopefully that means that the defense finds their identity. That's what I'm hoping. But I just don't see it changing against this team. I think that Sirianni's one of those coaches still that kind of looks at the roster sheet, the depth chart, and goes, where are they weak? And then plans it. I haven't seen much adjustment. Didn't really
I really
adjust.
hope they don't plan to attack the cornerbacks. I don't want to see that. You gotta.
Yeah.
Oh God, like what? And why is it so hard to just have a balanced attack? I don't understand that. Like, and Lance said it. Like, you have to have a balanced attack to win in the league. You gotta have a run game. I don't care what nobody thinks. I don't care what Howie thinks. I don't care what Jeffrey thinks. You have to have a run game in order to win in this league. You won the Super Bowl with a run game. You had LeGarrette, you had J.J., you had Corey. You won with a run game. Like, that was essential to what you did. Why the hell are we not running the ball when we have better running backs now?
Yeah.
We have Miles. We have Kenny Gainwell. We have Jordan Howard in the practice squad.
We have Jalen Hurts.
We have Jalen. But that's the issue. I think they look at Jalen Hurts running the ball as them running the ball and committing to the run game. Why are you wearing down your quarterback? Like, what does that get you?
We have Jalen Hurts
getting gassed.
That Lance was talking about, where you run that option, that read option. Like, I think a lot of these runs are not planned runs. They do want him to pass. But I think that's what you need to do. I think you made a point there, is where you need him to run on the timing, like, because he's great, at rolling out of the pocket, creating. But we're getting holding calls. We're getting linemen downfield. We're getting.
He's not deciding as quickly as he needs to be. Like,
right.
The first couple of drives, he was deciding like, right. Ertz, Goddard, Smith, Ertz, Goddard. Like, he was deciding so quickly. It was phenomenal. Yeah. But he doesn't do it consistently.
So if you want him to do that and you want him to decide to run, you show him the timing. You can give him those plays early. You say, hey, listen, if you're going to run, this is the timing. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I want to believe it. Chiefs game was great. I need to see it 2 games in a row. If they blow out the Panthers, if they get the offense going, that's fantastic. But I just see this kind of being like a back and forth kind of messy game. Maybe a lot of field goals, a lot of punts. But I do think the Eagles win. So I'm going to go, like 18-11 or some weird ass score like that, 21-13 or something.
Okay.
I got a friend who's a big Panthers fan, so he told me all the ways that we're going to get our asses kicked. So that was nice to hear. So I still feel like the Eagles win, but he made some compelling arguments.
Well, hats off to that. Hats off to that happening. So hopefully that does happen.
Absolutely.
But we are at an hour 15, not a minute 15.
Cheers.
Yeah, I already finished mine up.
Sorry.
But guys, thank you for joining us for our 100th episode. We're looking to give you guys 100 more. We'll get back to our Q&A podcast on Thursdays when things kind of slow down with Morgan's personal life and my work life right now. But we truly appreciate you guys coming on and just joining us. Huge shout out to a lot of you guys. I mean, a lot of you guys are regulars.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to, shout out the ones who have been here since the beginning. So Duck, Alex, Sean, it's been a lot of you guys that have been riding with us since the get-go, and honestly, we wouldn't have a podcast without you guys. And I'm sure even Liam's surprised at as how far we've come as a podcast, and then adding more.
You say Jay Fizz, bro. Jay Fizz.
Fizz, yes, absolutely. Jay Fizz. Ted
Ben as well, my Canadian friend.
Yeah,
Ted's been around.
Fresh to the podcast. He's been consistent so far.
Ron's been around.
Shout out to all you guys, honestly, for joining us and for being consistent. Because honestly, it will be very, very awkward podcast if we're doing live shows with none of you guys on. So, respect to you guys for joining us and taking the time out to listen to our banter and listen to our chaos. Big shout out to Chris for taking a chance when I offered the idea of a podcast. And big shout out to Morgan for stepping up when we needed somebody to step up within PSN, and now he's a regular on the podcast. So again, hats off to a lot of you guys. We're going to keep going at the end of the day, right? I mean, if you guys can. I mean, if you guys don't follow us on Instagram, we are on Instagram. I always forget the Instagram handle. The Instagram handle, if I'm not mistaken, is Flippin the Birds Pod. So we are on there. We do have our YouTube channel. Our YouTube link is down below. We'll get that soon rolling. We're possibly moving our Thursday podcast to that channel. So if you can't subscribe to that, am I missing anything else?
Yeah, we do a mailbag. So if you guys have any questions at all, just hit us up on Twitter. In general, man, just hit us up on Twitter. We love talking.
Or even Instagram, because Sean's been hitting us up on Instagram. So shout out to Sean.
100%.
And first and foremost, huge shout out to Liam Jenkins, who's very, very busy nowadays. And it's understandable because Liam runs a very tight ship at PSN. And he's also getting his golfing going. But huge shout out to you for as I knock into this. Huge shout out to you for trusting us with your platform and trusting us to deliver on your platform and giving us the opportunity to just speak our minds. To me, that's a huge compliment to how he sees us. So yeah, I'm not gonna get emotional on this podcast.
Yeah, once we turn off the cameras, Brian is crying 100%, but that's all right.
I'm gonna go cry my wife's lap. But yeah, anyways, I'm Brian Cameron. He's Morgan Burkett. The other gentleman,
Chris is somewhere too.
Chris is somewhere up around this video screen.
Yeah.
If you're listening to the audio version, we appreciate you guys too. And we're Flipping the Birds. We'll see you guys next week after the Eagles beat the Carolina Panthers.
Hell yeah.
Yes, sir.
Go Birds.
Go.